My name is McGrue. I'm here on behalf of the BEY Center, a newly formed nonprofit in Vallejo. I was pondering a question to ask, and my main concern is seeing the stats in the Vallejo School District. Success scores are low, and in turn, we're losing our funding for some of our schools, Vallejo High being the most recent one. I'm wondering, how can we reach the target group that's performing the lowest, which I see as socioeconomic disadvantage, where they can be effective in the classroom? Additionally, can we put in resources outside of school hours to support the efforts of all of our people in the school districts to make them better pretty much all year round, so they can come back to school with reinforcement from home and from all the different programs we have? Like, can there be a collaborative effort, city by city, to make things happen in a bigger way than they are today?
The issues that you're talking about, particularly at the high school level, where you have more and more disengaged students every day. You have kids who are chronic truants, who are dropping out, and people ask me all the time, what's the best solution to these problems? I want to tell you a quick story. One day, I went in to visit one of the poorest performing high schools in Washington, D.C. And it was one of those things where I wanted to sort of see what was going on. So I didn't announce my visit. I just kind of walked in, going from classroom to classroom. The first classroom that I walked into, there were 5 kids in it. Second classroom, 7 kids. Third classroom, 4 kids. I mean, I was thinking, where are all the students? Finally, the 5th classroom that I walked into, I asked the teacher, I said, where are all the kids? And she said, oh, it's Friday. And I said, really? Is that the only reason? And she said, no. I said, whew, good. Okay, she's going to tell me that they're on field trip or something. And she said, it's raining too. And I thought, wait a minute, what does the weather and the day of the week dictate our expectations for whether kids show up to school or not? So I was a little disappointed. We kept walking through, walked into one classroom, and it was overflowing with kids. There were so many kids that there were not enough desks to accommodate them. The children were sitting on the radiator all across the room. So I started talking to the kids, and I'm asking them, so what do you think about your teacher? And one kid said, oh, this is my best teacher. I said, really, why? He said, because every day he teaches us something new, and if you ask him a question, he will answer it. He'll help you learn the material. And I thought, okay, that's a kind of low bar, I'll take it. And so I finished my tour. I'm walking out of the school at about 10 o'clock. And that kid that I had talked to, and 2 of his friends, are walking out of the building in front of me. So I tapped him on the shoulder and I'm like, excuse me, young sir, where do you think you're going? And he said, oh, well, that class that you just saw, my first period teacher, that's our best teacher. So we come to school for first period. Our second period teacher, not so good, so we're going to roll. Because this is not the idea that people, the public, the American public have in their heads when they think about truant kids, right? You think about kids who are sleeping until noon and then rolling out of bed and then going to wreak havoc in the streets. These kids were making a conscious decision to wake up early, to get to first period because they knew they were going to get something from that teacher who was an incredibly effective teacher. And then they were going to leave afterwards because I'm not sure how much of them were. So they're making the same decisions about how they're going to spend their time as we do as adults. So the first and foremost, we have to ensure that we have really effective instruction going on in every classroom every single day. That's the first thing that we can do. But that in and of itself is not enough. You have to create an environment for kids where they want to come to school every day. And this is the problem that we have with all of the cuts that are happening. It's that then you start to cut sports, you start to cut art and music. And for a lot of our kids, this is what brings them to school every day. When you get rid of the hooks that kids really are engaged in, then you lessen their desire to want to come to school. So can more be done and can more must be done? Absolutely, without a doubt. And that's where I think that our biggest challenge is in the time of budget cuts. How can we make sure that the things that are core for every single child remain intact? We have gotten to a point as a nation where we see art and music and PE as extracurriculars.